Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to this YouTube channel. It's your guy Igor here. This video is dedicated to problems with Canada immigration, things that a lot of YouTubers like myself would not like to cover. We don't like talking about it. And I want to tell you guys, I lived in Canada for the past 10 years, and for the past 5 years I've been making videos about immigration, and I've been saying how great it is here, why you should be moving, how wonderful Canada is, how easy it is to get your immigration done, and that all of you should be definitely, if not already, but you should be definitely moving to Canada. And well, it's not as bright here, it's not as great. I don't want to say that I lied to you, but I kind of decided not to cover a lot of negative aspects. From time to time I do make a video like this one, which covers the problem with Canada immigration that a lot of you and your friends and relatives who are coming to Canada are facing. Probably even right now you might be very relating to this video. Well, I want to cover the most major problems that YouTubers like myself, we don't like talking about them because we want to show you only, like, look, it's beautiful. Well, it was snowing today, it was supposed to be summer, and you know, the weather and other things. Let's talk about real immigration programs. Like, it's actually pretty beautiful weather today, and the country is amazing, but here's the problem. Number one is immigration backlog, which is almost 900,000 applications. So there is almost 2 million applications right now, and just close to 900,000 of them are in a backlog. So meaning that you're not going to be getting your immigration on time. It's really bad, actually. The backlog is pretty bad. The second part about it is visa application limits and rejection rates. I don't know if you, I just visited India like not too long ago, just a few months back, and you know that half of applications from Punjab, it was on the Hindustan Times and things like that, they get rejected. So people who are trying to immigrate to Canada come here as international students, and we'll talk about immigration, international students in a moment, because that's how I came to Canada. So yeah, visa limitations, rejection rates. Give me a second. You see guys, it's pretty cold country, you know, and I've been talking on the phone all day today. My God, without coffee you cannot survive here. So when you apply for a visa, there is a big rejection rate, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why that happens, and then we'll get into international students. I'll tell you the biggest challenge for international students. Guys, Canada immigration is not all that great. A lot of applications get rejected. So you are like, okay, I watched this guy's video, I applied for Canada immigration, and I got a rejection. What do I do now? So, first of all, I would say is number one problem is that is the website of Canada.ca, where I say for all of you guys, after watching these videos, go there and find out the program that you're applying. Get the application submitted from there, so it should be easier to navigate. And it sucks when you use your cell phone. That's what I use to navigate through that website a lot of times. So sometimes it takes you to random links, take you to random places, not where you want to be. It's difficult to follow through. So a lot of people who cannot afford or don't want to go to those shady immigration consultants. You know, like, we all have them, especially in other countries outside of Canada, because in Canada they are regulated. Outside of Canada, Canada cannot do nothing about those fake immigration consultants out there, so they are not regulated. You don't want to go there, you want to go to the Governments of Canada website, and you cannot figure out how to navigate it, and through your phone it's even more complicated. Now myself, guys, I studied immigration law. I was going to be an immigration consultant. I decided not to go that way. Instead, I became a realtor in Calgary, Alberta. I joined the Experioti and I'm a real estate agent. So I do have a diploma in immigration. So I did study Canada immigration in order to do immigration consultancy, but I chose not to do that because it's too much of stress. Now, so I know how to navigate those websites. That's why I kept on making videos about immigration, because I know a little bit about it. Even though I'm not a licensed immigration consultant, I decided not to go for the licensing, and I decided to be a realtor, and I'm actually a licensed realtor, but I don't help with rents. I will buy and sell houses. Anyway, so long story short, it's pretty difficult if you don't know immigration law to navigate through those websites and figure out how they work. If you are for the first time That's how I came to Canada. I was going through those websites, so confusing. I had to hire an immigration consultant. So if you don't fill out the application correctly, if you don't follow the guidelines, you simply get rejected. Now, what do you do next? You could lose money, you might have to extra fees, or you might not even be able to apply for Canada immigration after that if you messed up somewhere on your application. So you need money to hire an immigration consultant or a lawyer for that, or you have to struggle on your own. And I think the biggest challenge is that website and portability and mobile usability of Canada.ca website. That's why a lot of people are visas getting rejected. Now, I said about Punjabi international students, and a lot of people are coming to Canada from Punjab. I don't know, for some reason people from South India prefer going to the USA, and from Punjab people prefer coming to Canada, but we have both. My wife is from South India, her family is from there, but she was from Mumbai originally. Anyways, so here's the situation, guys, about international students. Not only it's difficult to fill out, not only there are international student agencies that will lie and rip you off, also as international student candidate, you have to pay more money, 3 times more money to be precise, than Canadians for education here. So you have to have enough money for that. And it's not great. I paid, well, I would say roughly $50,000 Canadian, which was almost like when I came to Canada, Canada and US dollar were like 1-to-1 conversion. In fact, Canadian dollar was a little bit more expensive. So and my money was in the US dollars. So my money was like, lost a lot of money to get my graduate as international student. And it's one of the immigration pathways that people choose, coming here as international student, and it's super expensive. So the first problem I would say would be the backlog. Then it would be the usability of Canada.ca website, the limitation on immigration programs. Besides, okay, the fees for international students are expensive, but a lot of you are watching this channel and I make videos. I was like, there is a new immigration program. It's so amazing. You should apply. But how many applications are there on that program? There's lots of rural and pilot programs, let's say, for different regions in Canada. So Canada does not have enough labor, and it has developed all these pilot programs, all of those programs that eventually, my papers are going to fly off. I actually wrote some notes here. So Canada has developed a lot of programs to help you with immigration, to help employers find employees. And I make a video and I say there is an amazing program that doesn't need much skill, doesn't need much English, doesn't need almost nothing. Is that true? Well, it is true, but you would be living in a very remote area where none of the Canadians want to live. So you go through that program and you'll be in the middle of nowhere. And also there is a limitation, there is a quota on how many people they need, and it might not necessarily match your skill set for that particular program. And it's very limited amount of people that they need. But there is, like I said, almost $900,000 people backlog on immigration. So you can imagine how many people are trying to get in and how many people are allocated for each specific program. And how do you get through that program? Again, that website is pretty confusing. Canada.ca, and the links sometimes are not connected. And unless you are an immigration consultant, or you like me, crazy guy who have been doing research and then decide to go and get a diploma in immigration law here in Canada, then you probably can navigate a little bit better through those websites. But yeah, this is the situation. It's difficult to find out and submit correctly and get it approved and not get trapped with that backlog and figure things out. So it can be really stressful. Now, I would say the biggest issue that I see for a lot of you guys who are watching this channel from other countries is, well, you're like, oh, Igor, can you help me get a job in Canada? Or things like that. Here is the challenge that Canada is not willing to resolve, and it would resolve a lot of problems with immigration. Oh, not only, guys, right now I'm just looking around, and I'm seeing so many Ukrainian refugees in Canada right now. Well, they're not coming as refugees, they come on the work permit, on the working visa, that Kuwait visa. A lot of them are IT guys, and they're pretty good in that. But anyways, all I'm trying to say, Canada immigration isn't great, and Canada isn't allocating enough resources for doing that. And also the employers, here's the difficulty. You're saying, Igor, can you help me get a job offer? Here's the problem. You are like, okay, Canada needs You are like, okay, I wrote on a resume. You have a resume, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to get an employment in Canada. You submit your resume, and employer's like, that's quite significant what your skills are, and I want to hire you. But here's the challenge. They don't know how. So Canadian employers are not educated like they are in Middle East or other countries. There are ways. Canada needs more labor, needs more workforce. But employers are like, look, I want to hire this guy, let's say from Bangladesh, let's say, or Pakistan, India, wherever, UAE, Africa, Eastern Europe. I want to hire that person and help me with my company. But I don't know how. And they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to submit the application. What is required of you to get you sponsored? So to go through all that hassles, and a lot of employers are like, I need a lawyer, immigration lawyer. That might be expensive, and I don't know what to do. I need this guy, but it's so much of issue, and get your brain around in order how to sponsor them, because the Canadian government does not educate the employers on how to bring international workers to Canada. So there are ways, they're pretty simple, but the employers have no clue about them. And if they have an immigration lawyer or consultant, or they are immigrants like myself, for example, then they might know something and they might know a way. But if they're just like people who were born and raised in this country, they have no clue how to bring international workers. So one challenge is getting a job in Canada, the other challenge is convincing the employer to bring you into Canada. And if you're dealing with recruiters, with their HR, if it's a big company or something like that, they'll be like, you know what, let's just hire someone in Canada. It's going to be easy. Well, it's pretty difficult. You can find someone, but let's just pay someone more within Canada and then bring in the guy from outside of Canada, because we don't know how it works. So that's one of the things the Canadian government of Canada has to do. Not only, talk about immigration and things like that and all good things, but educate employers. Tell them about the programs. Like courses, set up courses for employers that need international workers and how they can bring them so they don't have to hire immigration consultant. They could do that themselves. They could apply for that, but they are not going to do that. Most of them would be like, you know what, yeah, it's too bad that like this guy, like you, are a really good candidate for the job, but I have no idea. Like, you figure out your immigration and then call me. Whereas they have to be the ones figure out your immigration in order to bring you to Canada. They have to sponsor you. So, and they don't know how to do that. So that's another challenge. So all in all, guys, Canadian immigration is pretty hard. People who are applying for immigration, they don't know how to use the website. The website is not good enough. Backlogs, rejection rates because of people not being able to navigate, information unavailable, rogue immigration consultants without licenses impersonating in third world countries who are cheating potential immigrants who are coming to Canada with good faith, employers that have no idea how to sponsor you, and limitation on all those programs and other things. Come as an international student, too expensive, also quite significantly complicated. Now, finally you made it into Canada. What's the next challenge? Well, it's cost of living. It's actually a very expensive country, and it's not like you're making enough money. So what happens to most of people watching this channel? You go to two places, Toronto or Vancouver, and maybe Montreal, but Toronto. Everyone goes there. Then you come in and there is a lot of people who just came to Canada just like you, and they're competing with each other. So what's the challenges? Cost of living and income. Income is not as huge as some people portray. Like, you see me, I have multiple properties in Calgary. I'm pretty successful immigrant in Canada, in Calgary. I'm not as successful for Toronto limit because Toronto is way so much more expensive, but in Calgary I chose the right city. The income here is one of the highest, the cost of living is one of the lower end, and real estate is still affordable. So if you're in Toronto, you're like, okay, you just landed, you got a $47,000 job. You're like, it's actually not bad for Toronto, $47,000 a year. And for the real estate there, you have to make at least $270,000 a year, which is not going to be unless you're a CEO, and most of the people there can't even afford buying real estate. So you'll be renting. Most of your money are going to be going for rent and for food. And if you are lucky to make any extra, you might be able to visit your homeland once a year. So cost of living versus what you're making in major cities, unless you're rich, a lot of immigrants are coming. The reason for that is a lot of people who are coming there, they're competing between each other. So you are faced with other people who are new to Canada, immigrants who might be more talented. That, like, for example, that's how I treat myself. I think that there are so much more people out there that have better skills, better talents, they're better educated, they are better in what I do than me, but they're willing to do that for less money. And I'm not willing to do what they do for that amount of money. That's why I'm in Calgary. Anyways, so that's kind of the situation. They lowball and they get a cheap, extremely skilled labor. Now, so cost of living is expensive. Another part about immigration is Canada has shortage of doctors. I have some issues with my, like I want to show my kid to a pediatrician. My newborn is like almost 2 weeks now, and you know what? Pediatrician shortage, doctors shortage, like all the licensing. But at the same time, the Canadian government is keeping guard on those licenses. They don't want you coming from your home country as a doctor, as an engineer, to be licensed in Canada. So they want to protect their workplaces. At the same time, they cry, oh, we don't have enough people, we need more people. But then they create barriers. To be a lawyer and to be admitted to the bar, in order to be a doctor, you have to have a Canadian licensing. For that, you might be an amazing doctor back home, but they make such English requirements, terminology, that is just on a different language from your own, and you might not be able to get admitted just because of that language barrier, so let's say. And of course, language is important, but what I'm saying is there are artificially created barriers to protect occupation here and to create the deficit of those professionals, which is immigration is trying to cover, but yet you are skilled enough, you are watching this video, but you cannot come here because you don't have Canadian licensing, and it's difficult to get licensed here because the licensing is a guardian dog barrier in order to limit non-Canadians going into their occupations. You, as a foreigner, as a not an English speaker, have to overcome all those barriers, all those course certification that might take years. And meanwhile, the Canadian government that made all those barriers for you is crying about the shortage of professionals like yourself watching this video that is needed here, and Canada requires that. So all in all, guys, it's not all great in Canada. There's lots of issues. Besides that, the sun came out, it's finally getting warm again, and I want to say, guys, I can't wait for summer. And anyways, if you're planning to come to Calgary, I made a video just now, just like the previous video on, top 5 places you should visit in Calgary. Just watch that video, it's pretty cool. I'm going different places, I'm showing different places. I love making such videos for you. I don't really like staying in my backyard of my house. Actually, it actually feels so good once you got your PR, once, like me, I got my citizenship already. I even did an unboxing video of the Canadian passport, and then you have your own land, your own house, your own real estate. It's just amazing, to be able to have that in a country where I came to basically with only my tuition fees. After Canada took my tuition fees, I was broke and I had nothing, and it's amazing country of opportunities where you can actually become really successful if you, number one, figure out the right program, make it through the immigration, move to the right city, get the right job, and don't spend your money unwisely, and you invest right in the right things, such as not like expensive cars or Teslas, but let's say real estate. Anyways, guys, my occupation is realtor. I'm with eXp Realty in Calgary, Alberta. I had to disclose it so that people, because that's one part of the licensing and the regulation, people can actually complain that I didn't say that I'm with eXp Realty. Can you imagine that? Anyways, guys, I hope I didn't discourage you too much. I wish you all the best. I made it, you can make it, and we'll see you in Canada. All the best, bye for now, and come to Calgary.